They say wealth whispers while money shouts. Nowhere is that more evident than in the way old money carries itself through tone, gestures, posture, and presence. Forget flashy displays or loud declarations. The true power of old money lies not in extravagance, but in subtlety. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the unspoken language of the elite. How they speak, move, and interact in ways that convey quiet confidence and authority without ever needing to boast. Before we dive in, let me ask you, do you want to learn how to carry yourself with the same calm presence and understated elegance as those born into legacy wealth? If so, stay with me until the end of this video, because what you'll discover could transform not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. And if you're passionate about understanding the hidden codes of the wealthy, make sure to subscribe to this channel and join our growing community, where we reveal the unspoken world of luxury, influence, and generational wealth. Now let's begin with the very foundation of old money communication: composure. Composure, the first signal of quiet power. When someone from an old money family enters a room, you rarely see hurried movements or nervous energy. Instead, their presence radiates calm control. Their body language conveys, "I belong here. I am unshaken by circumstance." This composure isn't an accident. It's cultivated through generations of grooming, etiquette lessons, and constant exposure to environments where poise is expected. For old money, being flustered, raising one's voice, or showing too much emotion in public is considered a breach of decorum. Think of composure as their silent armor. Whether they're at a high-stakes business meeting or a charity gala, their steady demeanor assures others of their confidence and competence. In conversations, they rarely rush to fill silence. They know that pauses are not signs of weakness, but of thoughtfulness. Contrast that with someone eager to prove themselves, gesturing wildly, talking over others, or forcing laughs too loudly. Old money doesn't need to compete for attention. Their quiet composure often commands it effortlessly. Posture, the backbone of presence. Watch closely at any old money gathering, a polo match, an art auction, or a black tie dinner, and you'll notice a shared physical quality: upright, measured posture, shoulders gently rolled back, chin level, movements controlled but never stiff. This isn't the exaggerated posture of someone overcompensating. It's a natural result of discipline, often instilled from childhood. From etiquette classes to boarding schools, posture was corrected until it became second nature. And posture, in turn, affects perception. An old money heir may walk into a room without uttering a word, but the way they hold themselves sends an instant message of assurance. Standing tall without arrogance, seated with elegance but not slouching. These small signals separate them from the restless, fidgeting gestures of those less accustomed to high society. Posture becomes a language of stability. After all, how can you be trusted with legacy wealth if you can't even hold yourself steady? The voice, reserved yet resonant. Now let's move to the subtle instrument of speech. One of the most striking characteristics of old money communication is not what they say, but how they say it. Their tone is measured, never rushed. They avoid extremes, rarely shouting, rarely whispering. Instead, their voice flows with a calm cadence that demands attention without ever begging for it. Accents may vary. British aristocrats sound different from Boston Brahmins or the Southern gentry, but the underlying principle is the same: restrained elegance. Even in disagreement, old money rarely raises their voice. They debate with civility, framing opinions with soft authority. And here's a secret: old money doesn't fear silence in conversation. Where others might stumble over pauses or rush to fill gaps, they use silence strategically. Pauses allow words to carry weight. They give others time to absorb meaning. In this way, their speech feels more like music than chatter. When they do speak, it's often in low tones that draw others closer, physically and psychologically. A reserved voice, paradoxically, can be far more commanding than one that shouts. Attentive listening, the rarest luxury of all. Perhaps the greatest gift old money offers in communication is listening. In a world where everyone is eager to be heard, the wealthy know that true power often comes from restraint. Watch them in conversation. Their eyes don't dart around the room looking for someone more important. They remain fixed, giving their full attention. They nod subtly, not exaggeratedly, to show engagement. They wait for the other person to finish speaking before replying. This is not just etiquette, it's strategy. By listening attentively, they make others feel valued, respected, and even indebted. People walk away from conversations with old money elites thinking, they really understood me. In truth, the elite may not have revealed much about themselves at all. But by listening, they gained far more information than they gave. It's the old adage in action. Those who speak less often learn more. Facial expressions, controlled and minimal. Another key to old money subtlety lies in their facial expressions. You won't see exaggerated grins, dramatic eye rolls, or overly theatrical reactions. Instead, expressions are muted, refined, and carefully managed. A small smile, a polite chuckle, a calm nod. These are their tools. Why? Because excessive displays are seen as undignified, even desperate. The old money ideal is to remain in control of one's emotions, signaling that nothing in the external world can disturb their equilibrium. When others gossip, they smile politely without adding fuel. When faced with an insult, they respond with a raised eyebrow instead of a verbal attack. Their expressions communicate volumes precisely because they are subtle. It's this emotional control that makes them appear unshakable. And in high society, that's a reputation worth protecting. Hand gestures. Precision over performance. When it comes to hand movements, old money takes a less is more approach. Their gestures are precise, subtle, and purposeful, never theatrical or exaggerated. If they use their hands while speaking, it's to emphasize a point gently, not to dominate the room. Palms are often relaxed, never flailing or chopping through the air. In fact, restraint is the hallmark here. Too many movements suggest nervousness or insecurity, and that's the opposite of what old money wants to project. Think of how European aristocrats sip tea or how American dynasties present themselves at charity events. Hands steady, movements measured. Even in small actions like folding a napkin, shaking hands, or placing a glass down, old money displays an almost effortless grace. This is the secret. Gestures should never distract from the message. They should frame words like a picture frame, not compete with them. Conversational restraint. Speaking without oversharing. There's a saying in high society, only the insecure need to explain themselves. Old money lives by this principle in conversation. Unlike new money or those eager to prove themselves, they rarely feel the need to dominate discussions or broadcast every opinion. Instead, they value restraint. Their conversations are often marked by thoughtful brevity, enough to convey intelligence but never so much as to invite scrutiny. You'll rarely hear them brag about money, possessions, or achievements. If mentioned at all, it's in passing and without detail. Instead, they ask questions, redirect focus, and let others do most of the talking. This makes them appear mysterious, confident, and above all, secure. It also reflects an old money belief. Your reputation should speak for itself. Words can be forgotten, but dignity is remembered. Eye contact. Confident, not confrontational. Eye contact is one of the most powerful tools in communication, and old money knows how to wield it. Unlike the darting eyes of someone anxious or the piercing stare of someone aggressive, their gaze is steady but soft. They make eye contact to show respect and attentiveness, but never to intimidate. It's a balance that makes others feel seen without feeling scrutinized. They avoid excessive blinking, scanning the room mid-conversation, or shifting eyes nervously. Instead, their focus stays present. When they do glance away, it's measured, never frantic. This ability to hold calm eye contact communicates both confidence and courtesy. It tells others, you have my full attention, and I'm not easily unsettled. Spatial awareness, commanding space without dominating it. Another subtle marker of old money behavior is the relationship with space. They never crowd others, never overstep boundaries, yet they maintain a comfortable presence that naturally attracts attention. At a dinner party, they don't lean aggressively into someone's personal space. In a meeting, they don't sprawl out to claim territory. Instead, they sit or stand with composure, making efficient use of the space they occupy. They also move with awareness. Entering a room, they glide instead of rush. When navigating a crowd, they weave politely rather than barging through. Their respect for space, both theirs and others, conveys refinement and consideration. This subtle mastery of space makes them appear powerful without being domineering. Silence, the unspoken superpower. Perhaps one of the most overlooked but impactful aspects of old money communication is their relationship with silence. Where many people rush to fill quiet moments with chatter, old money sees silence as strength. A pause in conversation doesn't make them uncomfortable. Instead, they allow silence to breathe, letting their words settle with weight. Silence also creates contrast. When they finally do speak after a pause, their words carry more gravity. This technique is especially powerful in negotiations, debates, or even social conversations. It forces others to lean in, to pay attention, to wait for what comes next. For them, silence isn't awkward. It's elegant. Group dynamics, the art of blending and leading. In group settings, old money individuals don't try to dominate every exchange. Instead, they adapt fluidly, playing the role that best suits the moment. Sometimes they lead with quiet authority, other times they blend seamlessly into the group, content to listen. They avoid interrupting, avoid raising their voice over others, and rarely compete for the spotlight. Instead, they allow others to shine while maintaining a subtle influence over the flow of conversation. This ability to both command and recede is what makes them socially magnetic. They know when to step forward and when to step back, a balance that new money, eager to prove themselves, often struggles with. Dressing the part, communication without words. Though not strictly verbal, the way old money dresses is itself a form of body language. Their clothing choices communicate refinement, tradition, and restraint without ever needing explanation. Classic tailoring, muted tones, quality fabrics, these send messages before a single word is spoken. A well-pressed blazer, polished shoes, or understated jewelry say, "I don't need to prove my wealth. You can sense it." This sartorial language complements their composure and reinforces the subtle signals of old money behavior. After all, communication is holistic. The way you dress, move, and speak should align into one cohesive presence. The psychology behind old money subtlety. To understand why old money communicates the way it does, you need to see the psychology behind it. For them, confidence doesn't come from proving wealth. It comes from knowing wealth is secure, legacy is established, and social standing is inherited. This foundation removes the need to seek validation through flashy behavior. Every subtle gesture, every measured tone, every calm silence is a reflection of this security. They don't need to perform wealth because their status is already recognized. That's why subtlety is not just a style, it's a mindset. Old money individuals grow up learning that less is more, that true influence lies in leaving things unsaid, and that dignity outlasts display. The power of understatement. In conversations, old money relies on understatement. Instead of exaggerating or embellishing, they let small hints carry enormous weight. For example, instead of boasting about owning a yacht, they might casually mention, "We'll be at the coast this summer." Those in the know will understand the reference without the need for explicit bragging. This art of understatement extends to body language too. A single raised eyebrow, a slight smile, or a calm nod can speak louder than a flood of words. Subtle signals like these separate those who must prove themselves from those who have nothing to prove. Emotional control as social currency. Another old money hallmark is emotional regulation. Anger, jealousy, or loud displays of joy are kept private. In public, emotions are tempered, measured, and dignified. Why? Because emotional volatility is seen as weakness. Losing control even briefly can damage reputation. Old money prefers to appear unshakable no matter the circumstances. This doesn't mean they're emotionless, it means they understand the value of restraint. Emotional control becomes its own kind of currency, one that buys respect and trust in high society. The contrast with new money. To see old money more clearly, it helps to contrast it with new money. New money often relies on visible signals. Louder voices, flashier gestures, and constant self-promotion. They're eager to broadcast success, to ensure everyone notices. Old money, on the other hand, relies on invisible signals. Their wealth is implied, their influence subtle. They don't need validation through spectacle because their position is already cemented. This contrast is why old money behavior can sometimes appear aloof or even mysterious to outsiders. But to those within their circles, it's simply the code of conduct. Why subtlety still matters today. In our modern world of social media, where loudness often dominates, the old money style of communication feels almost radical. But that's exactly why it still holds power. When everyone else is shouting, the calm voice is the one that gets heard. When others overshare, the person who listens stands out. When most people chase attention, the individual who doesn't need it becomes magnetic. The art of subtlety is timeless precisely because it contrasts with the noise of the world. It draws people in, makes them curious, and leaves an impression that lasts longer than any boastful display. How can you apply these secrets? You don't need a family fortune to adopt the principles of old money communication. Anyone can learn to project quiet confidence by practicing. Composure. Slow down your movements, avoid rushing, and remain calm even in stress. Posture. Stand tall. Sit with elegance, and let your body show stability. Tone of voice. Speak slowly, avoid extremes, and let silence carry weight. Listening skills. Focus fully on others, nod subtly, and avoid interrupting. Facial control. Smile gently, Keep reactions measured and never overperform. Understatement. Let subtle hints speak for you instead of over-explaining. By integrating these habits, you too can carry yourself with the same quiet confidence that has defined the world's most enduring families for centuries. The art of subtlety isn't just about communication, it's about identity. It's how old money reveals influence without words, how they command attention without effort, and how they shape perceptions without ever appearing to try. And here's the truth. In a world obsessed with noise, those who master subtlety will always stand apart.